Hi, hi.
Hey, hey.
We are here, and it takes a minute or so for people to start showing up. Excuse me, got that cough right before we came on. Um, but yeah, I'm just making sure we're all good here. We should be streaming, and if you're just joining us, yeah, we're going live. I just had to double check. Um, if you're just joining us, we encourage you to say hello to us in the comments, and we welcome back our previous watchers and listeners, and also welcome our new guests, or not guests, but well, you are guests. I guess they are kind of guests when they're in our living room, so to speak. Um, but our new people that are joining, that might be joining the podcast that haven't seen it before. And if that's the case, you might want to check if you've never seen our podcast before. We've got what we call our prequel that Margot and I created to kind of, no, wait a minute, that's not it. Uh, that Margot and I created to inform people about who we are and give a little bit of background and our credentials and all. And in case you haven't noticed, Margot is not with us tonight. She's conducting a wedding at the beach, lucky lady.
Mhm.
And that is her bread and butter. So, we can't fault her for that. She and her husband run Beach People Weddings. But Angela Nyx agreed to join us this evening. So, welcome, Angela. And Angela comes to us from Ashboro, correct?
Yes. Yes. Thanks.
And yeah, so let me think. What else do I want to tell people? Oh, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Welcome, Deborah, and this is Deborah. Is my sister. She's
Hey,
come to us.
Deborah. Thank you.
Yeah, and so we're glad to have you. So be sure to tell us hello if you're just coming on. And we were on Facebook and YouTube, and we can tell when people comment on from either location. But if you're on YouTube, I might talk about somebody that posted posted a comment on Facebook, and you're going, "Where are they? I don't see it where I'm at." So we usually throw it up on the screen, or at least paraphrase, so that just recognize that we get comments from those multiple sites. But we do want your comments. We want your questions as we go along, and we hit a topic that interests you. Please, well, hopefully you'll be interested in all of it. But
Mhm.
please, if you've got something to share or ask about, we really enjoy the audience getting involved with us. Um, so, Angela, I think
Yeah.
that takes care of most of the housekeeping stuff. I'm gonna. Well, I know just a little bit, and I'm getting to know Angela along with everyone else here. Um, Margot speaks highly of you, and I was excited to have you on based on what she told me. But I know in our talk, you said you're clairvoyant and you're an empath and intuitive,
Mhm.
and you've had lots of different
Oh,
experiences
yes.
and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, you're in Ashboro, which is just south of Greensboro.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, One thing I know you were telling me about, I think we can just share that one right off the bat. Tell me about the time you were driving home from Greensboro.
Oh, my alien adventures.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was probably about, I would say around 1996. And me and two of my friends were going down 220 bypass from Greensboro going back to Asheboro. And we were probably near the level cross area. And we saw this huge light up in the sky, and we just kept watching it, and it was an object with lights, white lights going all the way around it. And so me, being the weirdo that I am, said, "Hey, pull over, let's take a look." So we pulled over on the side of the road, and in the northbound and the southbound lanes, there was probably about a dozen people pulled over on each side. So it wasn't just us. And we got out of the car and we were standing there looking at it. And I don't know how long we were there. It may have been 5 minutes. It may have been an hour. I don't know. And we were just watching it, and it was completely silent. Like I said, had white lights going all the way around it. And it was just there, probably a few yards above the tree line. And then all of a sudden, takes off and's gone, just like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not. I mean, if it was just above the tree line, that means it wasn't too far above you. You could probably make out some good details.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. You could have probably, but the lights on it were so bright that it was hard to see a lot of detail in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was just white lights going all the way around it, and they weren't blinking on or off or anything. They were just a steady on all the way around it, completely silent. It was there 1 minute and gone the next.
How big would you say was?
Oh, goodness. It was,
I mean, it was bigger than a car. It was
oh,
bigger than
yeah.
a house.
It was bigger than probably, I'd say about the size of a small house. It was very big.
So they didn't even wave to you outside the window or anything.
No, no.
Rude.
Right? And I thought, okay, finally they're
Green hands out.
yeah. I thought, well, yeah, okay, finally they're coming back to pick me up. I can go home now. I'm done with this kid. But no, of course not.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. I was watching because this is how fast my mind goes. Okay, when you're talking about going home, and I'm thinking, are you Palladian or are you, I'm thinking all these different names.
Right.
And then it reminded me, I was watching, you know how Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, does the Red Table Talks.
Right.
I don't know if you ever seen. Okay, well, Willow, her daughter, has started doing Red Sofa Talks, and
Okay.
her first one, I think it premiered today or this week or something, because it showed up in my timeline on Facebook, and she interviewed Paris Jackson. They're really good friends.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting was they were talking about something was said, and Paris talked about being Palladian.
Oh, okay.
And Willa says that makes so much sense. And she said, I've been told and I can't remember the name of one of the others, and which are different
Arcturian.
aliens, huh?
Arcturian.
Yes, that was it, Arcturians. And so I was like, holy cow, talk about woke.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you can look at Paris Jackson and tell.
She does.
She just has that something about her that you can tell she's not from here. Just something about her.
Yeah, yeah. So so on that thread, have you met many people that you've gone, oh yeah, they're from XYZ? Do you even think about it?
Well, there's some people that you just can't help, but when you see them, you just know. And I don't call them out on it. I'm gonna say, "Hey, you're not from here, are you?"
Well, I'm from New York. No, that's not what I meant.
You know what I mean. From but you can just I think certain people you can just tell. They're not, and a lot of them I think, I don't know what I want to say. I think a lot of them came in recently, like within the past 30 years or so. Because I don't see it much in the, what is it, what they call the boomer generation. I don't see a whole lot of it in them. But more recently, yeah, like Willow, Paris, people like that, I can see it in.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting. So, all right. So we were going into some interesting, some different things. I know that you also used to work for Eclectic by Nature in
Eclectic by nature,
Greensboro,
yes.
and that's one of the local shops that. Well, you can tell what's it about. Tell us about Eclectic.
Oh, Eclectic by nature. It's just the most fabulous little metaphysical shop that ever was. The owner, Tavane, she is super, super lady, a great friend of mine. All the employees that work there, they're just wonderful people. And it's just, there's something for everybody. No matter what your spiritual beliefs or practices, there's just something for everybody. Even if you just come in and sit and talk with them, shoot the breeze. It's just a very warm, open, welcoming place. And I am so thankful. I was very fortunate to work there and I learned so much there. And most of my friends that I have now, including Margot and several of my other friends, I actually met through Eclectic. So
Uh,
for me, that was just a very blessed place and will always hold a special place in my heart.
yeah, yeah. It's a wonderful little corner of the world in
Yeah,
Greensboro.
it is.
Deborah asked, and she's saying, how would they enter in? So, like, if you've got a, this is going back to the discussion on Paris Jackson and Willow. How Give us your opinion on how did they come to be if they're from another planet?
I think probably since birth, if I had to guess, since conception, really. Just how would they do it? And what? Wait a minute. I had a thought and it just left me. A walk-in. Have you ever heard of those?
Where just like the body's there, and then
So like there's this one person, and I'm not going to call him out by name, but I do believe that and he believes also that he was a walk-in.
mhm.
And we say this, or he says this, because when he was little, he was very, very sick. And he has no memory of his childhood other than at one point he was very sick. And so he believes that he is a walk in now, which essentially, in a nutshell, is another soul or another being walks in and occupies your body, and your original soul or being, whatever you want to call it, leaves and goes wherever it wants to go. And the new one lives out the rest of your life for you. So,
Yeah,
so that's one way that they could come in as well, is maybe they had an agreement with the original soul or being, spirit, whatever you want to refer to it as. Say, hey, you come here for this long, or you come and be birthed into the earth, and then we're going to come in and do an exchange, and you can go back home and do whatever you want to do.
I
That's one.
also understand there's a lot of hybrids that were people that there's more hybrids here than you realize.
Yeah, I feel like that's very true.
Theory that Abraham Lincoln might have been a walk-in.
Mm-hmm. I
Of course,
think
he was structurally unusual too,
he was.
so he might have been a hybrid.
Mm-hmm. Very, very tall, very lanky, very defined features, you know,
Yeah, so that's
and kind of ahead of his time,
very much so.
So, and anything's possible.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, we won't know until we know,
Exactly.
but if you're open enough, you can sort of start making sense of
Mm-hmm.
things and how they go along. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what are some of the okay. How did you know, first of all, when you were younger? I guess you started figuring out that hey, I've got some talents or gifts
I
or
was a little different.
yeah.
I was a little different. Well, I remember my mom telling me that when I was a child, she could walk by my room and I would be in there by myself. But when she walked by, it would seem like I was with probably a dozen other people. And I said, what do you mean? She says, well, you were always talking and carrying on. Like every time I walked by your room, you were having conversations with your imaginary friends. Now I wonder, I wonder if they were so imaginary. But that's kind of what, when you're young. And when you're young, how you, especially with me, I wanted to go outside. And when a storm was coming up, I wanted to like blow the wind this way and blow it that way and thought I could do that, or be in my sandbox mixing up little potions and doing little magical stuff. And then as I got older, and especially when I became a teenager, all that kind of fell to the wayside. Oh, yeah, whatever. And I was too occupied in, being a teenager. And then probably, I would say in my mid to late 20s, I was like, there's more to the world, I think, than what I know. And so I started going to the library and trying to do research on different beliefs, different religions, ghost stories, that kind of thing. And then the internet came about.
Ah,
Yes. And remember MSN chat rooms?
yes.
Yes. I was in one that was a metaphysical chat room. And I started talking with people from all over the world and learning new things. And it just became more and more intriguing. So I continued to dive a little bit deeper into them and explore them more. And then in 2003, I moved to the West Coast, and that was a whole new world. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
okay, so not everybody's the same belief system as they are where I'm from. And rather than being afraid of it or judging them for what they believed or didn't believe, I talked to them. Tell me about it. Tell me why you believe this, what it means to you. And in doing so, I found out, okay, some of this it makes sense to me. So, I just kind of went down various paths and learned about different things, and here I am.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So what is one of the most unusual things that has happened to you that stands out?
Oh, it would have to be hearing dead people.
Hearing dead people.
Hearing dead people, just to put it bluntly. Um, that's something. The first time that I really accepted what was going on, that
Mm.
was a big deal. And that happened when I was gosh, we'd already moved back here, so that was probably 2007. And I always kind of felt it, but I didn't, you kind of just kind of push it to the side. And this time it was just a nagging at me. And what it was a guy that I had went to school with. And he unfortunately passed away while we were still in school. And he was best friends with another guy that went to school with us that lived just down the road from me. And I was just at home one day and I kept hearing the guy that passed away, I kept hearing him in my head, or I thought in my head. And he said, I need you to go tell our friend this. I need you to tell him this. And I'm sitting there thinking, I can't tell this guy. I can't give this other person a message. He's going to think I'm nuts.
Been
you
there,
know,
done that.
hey, our dead friend, he's got a message for you. But it just wouldn't let up. And that went on for a couple of days. Then finally, I'm like, okay. So I went to the other guy's house, the living guy's house. And I said, look, I got to tell you something. And you may think I'm nuts, but I got to tell you this. And so I told him what the message was. And he just kind of looked at me. He says, how did you know that? I said, he told me. John was the guy that had passed away. That was his name. I said, John told me. And he says, nobody knew about that. I said, well, he
Mm.
said to tell you this. And then it was like John started just in my ear. Okay, now you've got his attention. Now he'll believe you. Now this is what I want him to know. So that was just kind of like, okay. So
But wait,
John,
there's more.
but wait, there's more. So John essentially told me something that had been a secret between him and the guy that was his best friend that they had never told anybody. He told me so that when I approached the other guy, he would be open to receiving the rest of the message.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's pretty crafty. I did that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first big moment. And then I've had others, throughout the years. When I was working at a clay tech, I remember one time I was working in the back and I came to put something out on the shelf, and there was a lady who was just leaving, and I told Tabane, I said, I've got to go tell her something. I'll be right back. I've got to go tell her something. So I walked outside and I said, "Excuse me, you don't know me." I said, "But I have something I need to tell you. And if you believe it, that's fine. If you don't, I'm sorry I wasted your time." And she says, "What is it?" I said, "He wants me to tell you to keep dancing." She's like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Does that mean anything to you?" And she said, "Yeah. My husband died a few months ago. And to something to occupy my time, to keep my mind off of it, I took up ballroom dance lessons."
Oh my gosh.
So that, and still, I mean, that still gets to me.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to tell her to keep dancing, that he liked to watch her dance.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps. I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, woo.
But I mean, just little things like that, and people, it's a blessing to me because I can do something like that for somebody and give
Mhm.
them some sense of peace that the one that they love is okay, you know.
Yeah.
And if you can just that small thing, I'm just the conduit for it. I'm just the messenger.
Right.
But to see the joy that comes over them, it's just that's a blessing to me. They bless me with that. You
Yes.
know? So I feel like I'm very fortunate in that area to be able to do that for them.
Right. Yeah, there's and what's funny is like I'll get a lot of messages, don't necessarily, well, sometimes I'll hear things, but I'll also be shown pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll see things and I've learned, which I sort of knew ahead of time, but I didn't realize how important that was until um like, don't, in other words, what I'm trying to say is don't try to interpret,
Right.
put your own label on stuff.
Right.
Oh, well, I think that means, and then the person's going, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's what I'm seeing. And then the person goes, oh, that makes sense.
Exactly.
And it's like,
Exactly.
so I
That's
don't
it.
second guess it anymore. I just,
That's it. Well, you can't, because when we second guess it, that's when we screw it up. You
mm-hmm.
know, and like for me, I hear them, but then I guess I see them in my mind's eye energetically. They'll start showing me
Mm-hmm.
what they look like, and then I
Yes.
can tell the person. But yeah, if you don't, we can't interpret it our way. We have to just tell them what we see or what we're hearing. And I always tell somebody, I say, what I'm going to say, if it doesn't make sense to you, then let it go. It may be for somebody else, you know.
Right,
But
right. Well,
yeah.
I was in a workshop one time and we were practicing doing some readings, and I can't remember what the instructions were, but this guy's mother appeared,
Mhm.
and and he said, and so I started describing this woman, and I'm like, well, I know what I'm seeing, but I don't know if that really is. And and what I was seeing, yeah, this guy was kind of tall, and he was from up north. Some, he might have been from New York because we were in New York at the time, but he was from that area. And I was seeing a woman that kind of reminded me. I don't know if you've ever seen Martin Scorsese's mother, and that's just because I'm a big movie reference type
Right.
person. But she was actually in oh, that big movie that he did that had Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci and
Oh goodness. What
uh,
is that movie?
but you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a true story about the mob guy.
Oh, Goodfellas? Was that it?
Goodfellas,
Yeah.
yes. She played Joe Pesci's mother in that
Really?
movie because
Okay.
that's Martin Scorsese's mother.
Yeah.
So kind of a petite looking,
Yeah.
you know. And so I start telling this guy. I said, well, And I'm thinking, but this can't be his mother because there's just no. But the more I looked at her in my mind's eye, the more I could see some similarities. But I said, I'm seeing this woman, and she's kind of short, and she's feisty, and but very doting, and
Mhm.
very much a caretaker. And I just remember I kept describing, and by the time I was done, he was like, "That was her. You got her nailed down." And I was like, "Holy cow!" Because he just kind of kept looking at me the whole time I was describing it. I'm like, "Anything, please tell me I'm on the right track." And then, and then when I
You
was done,
missed
I was
something.
like,
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
and that's how I found out. Like I've done some wrong readings where the first couple of readings that I did where I'm interpreted on my own what it meant
Mhm.
because like in one I was doing a body scan, it was a practice thing and I was just doing a body scan on this person and I'm seeing her skeletal system and all this stuff and then we get down to uh her lower body cavity and I can see like her ribs and then below her ribs it was just empty. I could see her spine, but everything else was empty. And I
Mhm.
was like, what the heck does this mean? And I kind of asked because I go through Creator to do, through Source to do
Yeah.
my readings. And so I asked in my head, okay, what does this mean? And I saw this motion of whoosh, everything going out, just like being taken out. And I was like, really? And it kind of did it again. So I just, duh. I looked at her and I said, are you getting ready to start your period or something? Because she was a young girl. And she goes, no. All right, I'll come back to that. And I went on and da, da, da. When I was done, I found out she'd had a total hysterectomy.
Wow.
She'd had cancer and total hysterectomy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Wow. Well, and see, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, no, there's nothing there, Iris. Why did you think that? I knew it was feminine the way it was, and
Right.
I, I should have known it was female problems, not just. But it was like okay, just let it go. Quit trying to claim ownership to anything, and just tell what you see. You know.
That's it. That's the best way to do it.
So, we were talking about a little bit before about some new stuff, and I know you love conspiracy and
Hmm.
yeah, she
Yes.
likes stuff with that.
Yeah.
So you were telling about a news story going on in the desert. What's happening?
Oh, with Lake Mead.
Mm-hmm.
Lake Mead, which is where the Hoover Dam is, or near the Hoover Dam in Las Vegas. Didn't read the article, but I saw the headline. Basically, it says Lake Mead is drying up. And there was, gosh, was it last week? They were having, I read the headline of something where they were having issues in California as well with some lake or reservoir or something out there.
Mm.
Yeah. So what do we think about that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm kind of like
Hmm.
it's interesting because the Colorado River feeds into Lake Mead, and I know people that live in Colorado that talk about how much it snows, and they've been talking about it, this past winter, how
Right.
much snow they got. You'd see all the never heard anybody say anything like, "Oh, we're just not getting the snow we used to." I mean, it was just here it comes again, here it
Uh-huh.
comes again. There's
Uh-huh.
been no and so if we believe what we're taught in school that snow melts and feeds into the tributaries and into the river, there's plenty of water
Right.
somewhere.
Right. And wasn't it just a few weeks ago they had another big snowstorm?
Yeah, it wasn't
Was
too
it?
long ago. It
Yeah,
was a late one.
yeah.
So I'm curious, how does the lake dry up all of a
Right.
sudden? And if you've got Hoover Dam holding water back,
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of water.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And before I would trust anybody on the news, I'd want to see it myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds like a reason for us to go to Vegas, Iris.
Ooh, that would be
Wouldn't
fun.
it?
And flights are cheap, right?
There you go. That's it. That's it.
Oh my gosh. So I
Yeah.
had a friend that flew to, or a co-worker's friend, she flew to New Orleans last weekend. She said it was incredible how booked the planes are. She said
Really?
all of a sudden everybody's going, we're free. And
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
said, I never dreamed it would be so packed. And there they there was a delay, and they ended up having to like change planes and all this other stuff because it was like they were overbooked.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was just, she said it was crazy. And I mean, there was no room on the plane for, and she said, so they ended up like spending an extra night
So
at
are they
something.
not still doing the social distancing on planes or hmm.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Evidently not.
Okay.
Everybody has to wear a mask,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah. And so that, it's like all of a sudden everybody's like, it's summertime and we can travel, and so let's go.
Yeah, no doubt. Goodness.
Yeah, but it you know what the other thing is in the conspiracy theory arena is how many things. I saw a meme the other day that said, just wait 6 months and it won't be a conspiracy theory anymore. Because there has been so much in the same, it's like the news has come, I mean, not the news, I don't want to, when I talk about news, I'm talking information is being
Right.
shared.
Yeah.
There was a video this week of senators who nobody I really recognized. It's interesting that we got these senators coming out that are fairly unknown,
Right.
but they were senators, and it was mainstream media was around them, and they were talking about Dr. Fauci and uh, investigations, and everything in China appears to have happened just the way that people were saying over a year ago,
Yeah.
that it's a man-made virus. They were reckless. This Wuhan is responsible. All this stuff, and that they're investigating it. And it's like crickets on mainstream media.
Okay. Did not maybe I hope I'm not imagining this, but it's been known to happen. Was originally, I mean originally, was there not something about it came from some kind of a bat soup that was being sold at the wet markets?
Originally, that was the first theory, because they said, oh, that's what they, my understanding is that's what China tried to blame it on,
Okay.
because there was a market in Wuhan
Mm-hmm.
that sold bats that could have been infected, and that they could have yada, 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 yada. It also turns out that in the Wuhan lab, I believe they had some infected bats.
Mm. Okay.
So I think it just kind of fed that,
Yeah.
oh, that it was just a freak of nature kind of thing. And
Yeah.
everybody was kind of poking fun because, oh, bat soup, yuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but it was a convenient scapegoat.
Hmm.
And then the news started, the underground started with, well, there's this scientist that has tried to escape and all this other stuff going on. What? Wet markets, yeah, and then that
Yeah.
what they call
Yeah.
the
That's where
the
they sell all the freshest of the fresh. He's-
I mean,
yeah, you
quite
got
frankly, I think little
it.
bats are cute. I can't imagine it'd be like eating guinea pigs, which
Yeah.
they do in Peru. But and let's see, it turns out there were no wet markets in the area.
Oh,
Okay, didn't
okay.
know that.
I did not know that. Thank you, Deborah.
Yes, and if anybody else wants to chime in, please do.
Yes.
But Deborah, yes, thank you. Engage with us here. Um, but in other words, what you're saying now is all that stuff was true, and there have been some subsequent things that have come out that, I mean, and look at, the government coming out and saying, yeah, we lied to you about uh UFOs for all those years,
Hmm.
and but nobody cares. But it's like, do you really think they're not lying to us now?
Well, wasn't it shortly after the beginning of all this they actually released, was it the CIA or somebody released documentation that there were in fact aliens and
Well, and
UFO?
they have the spaceship
Yeah.
material and
Yeah.
stuff in the Pentagon.
Yeah. But we were so because I saw a meme about that probably a year ago now, saying, the Pentagon just released evidence that there are in fact aliens, UFOs, and it got no news coverage because of what's going on. So in that sense, well, that was a convenient time to release that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just
I
saying.
just, and the thing is, they've got better pictures than
Oh,
those little radar pictures of the little jumpy
oh
things. You
yeah.
know they
Oh,
do.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
want to see the good stuff.
Me too. Me too.
I want to go see if that crazy scientist is down there from Independence Day in Area 51. Oh, we
Yeah.
don't get many people down here.
More and more reason to go to Vegas, Iris. You know?
Yeah. Oh man, and we're racking it up here.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh my God, are they still keeping people out of Area 51? I guess they are. I mean, it's like,
Well, whatever. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Wasn't it shortly before the virus where they were supposed to raid Area 51?
yes. So people were
Yeah.
they were going to march in, and they were hoping to get like a million people there or something, but it kind of petered out.
Yeah.
And it was like, we'll go, but and they're like, there's nothing to see here, folks. There's nothing to see. But when you see all these, and seeing movies and things, and the reveals, when you can put
Hmm.
when you see hints of things in programming and in movies and things, and it's like, that looks familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Give us a couple of examples. Can you think of anything off the top of your head that
Oh
really?
gosh. What was it we were just talking about?
We were talking about, okay, so let's back up. I know one. We were talking about cryptozoology.
Yes.
Okay, so start with the cryptozoology, and then we'll go to the reveals.
Okay, we were talking about Bigfoot. Remember that? And Chewbacca.
Yes.
See any similarities?
Yeah, which came first, Chewbacca or
Yeah,
Bigfoot?
which came
And
first?
because some people are saying that Bigfoot could be alien.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going, how come all the other aliens that we've seen are hairless? Why would we suddenly have a fuzzy one? And then I went, Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. And then we got to talking about Chewbacca. And,
Yeah.
big, tall, hairy, alien.
Mm,
Interesting. Yeah.
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. I believe in everything until I don't.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a better way to handle it than instead of say, because why definitively say you don't believe something until you
Exactly.
learn?
Exactly. That's it.
Um, what I loved, like Men in Black and all the reveals in that.
There are so many in that. I mean, it's just watching it. It's just like they're sitting there and they want to tell us. They want us to know, but we can't come out and tell you directly. So pay attention, which is what
Yeah,
you should do anyway.
yeah,
Pay attention, because it's
yeah.
all there. If you pay attention, but you got to take these blinders off and see it for what it is. It's all there, you
And it's
know.
like, when the government patents on different things and how much money they make off of it that funds that whole agency. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty, I mean, that's just straight fact that they give you.
it is. But and it's sometimes I think that they just put it in our face so clearly. What is it? You can't see the forest for the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Goes, oh, here, just tell them this. Yeah, it's true, but they're not going to believe it.
It's movie, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course some things are designed to try to scare us. So
Mhm.
like when you're watching Alien or Aliens or um War of the Worlds or
Right.
you know, well, of course they're trying to scare you so that if when we become totally aware that there will be people that will go, "Oh my God, they're here to kill us!"
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Ah.
Yeah. But look at movies like The Matrix.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know,
And do you know I saw where? Oh God. Okay. It was the Wachowski brothers that created that, but now they're the Wachowski sisters
yeah.
because Larry's Lana. No. Yeah. I can't remember the other one's name. Ugh. But anyway, the other one, there, he came out and was talking about somebody said you did you create the Matrix based on your your questions about your identity and how you have to conform and all this, and he's going, yeah, that was it. He said that could be attributed to that, and I was like, really, you're gonna go there with that? And because it was like he was allowing the person to say that,
Uh-huh.
but there was more to it, because I remember Lana talking about it a long time ago, seeing an interview with her, and talking about all the different religions that are represented in it and all the different theories, and I mean, and it's like they took a big mixing bowl and put everything in it and shook hard,
Mhm.
and boom. And you're, whoa! I mean, every time I see that movie, I see more.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And that's the thing. Every time you watch it, you're going to pick up more and more and more. But yeah, it was almost blatantly put out there. Here, this is the truth. Look at it. But, oh, it's just a movie. Somebody with a wild imagination. Is it?
One line that a lot of people don't catch is when they first pick up Neo in the car, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got the bug
Mm-hmm.
in him, and they want to do the thing. When he first gets in, the girl in front, I can't remember her name, but she's a blonde headed girl. She says, "Listen here, Copper Top." She calls him Copper Top,
Oh.
and it's a
Uh
battery.
huh. Duracell battery, copper top. Yep.
And and it was like he's going, huh? And then later we find out why, but it's like, Yeah, and it was one of those. She says it so fast and it's so low, but it's like, holy cow.
Well, I mean, is that what we are? Or are we just batteries fueling the machine?
Or and at the least, worker bees.
Yeah, yeah. Worker bees. I saw it wasn't a meme, but it was just a saying that said, "What if they're not really stars? What if they're just holes punched in the lid so we can breathe?"
Oh.
Ah, hmm. Well then.
Yeah, it's like open the locker. Oh, hell, okay. Oh,
Uh-huh.
hell, okay.
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, Lord. Well, and and look at the Twilight Zone and how far ahead they were.
Really.
The box of toys that the little girl plays with, or the dollhouse that the seemingly human girl had, but
Right.
they were not.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, do you remember the one where the lady went in for surgery because she was so ugly
yes.
and she wanted to look like all the others who she thought was pretty? And they, to us, they were just horrible looking, with the nose and everything. I mean, look at that today. Look at all the surgeries being done because so many people want to be up to par with what somebody else said was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, lots.
And yeah, and there was another one that was on that same line, but they did a switch. It's like the girl was so unhappy, and they said, "Well, we'll trade you. We'll trade." There was some, or there was some guy. Oh, I know what it was. The guy said this. They had a guy that came and got her, and he said, "We're going to take you someplace where there's people like us," because he was
Uh-huh.
like her. I know we're not that attractive, and they were both gorgeous,
Right,
but
right.
and
Yep.
they go off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy everybody looks like me, and I don't feel so bad
Hmm.
anymore."
Hmm.
I was like, "Ah."
Yeah. Just be you. Just, I mean, everybody's beautiful in their own way, you know. And what makes us different makes us beautiful,
Mhm.
you know. So you just do you.
Yeah,
You'll be a lot
yeah.
happier inside and outside.
Very true.
You know?
Very true. Well, I'm trying to keep an eye on time too, because I don't want to go too long. Um, so and I know we've lit on a bunch of different topics,
We have.
but what about okay? So tell me this. I know you said you've got an adult son.
Hmm.
What does he think about the things that you do and see and
Um, what does he think about it? Well, he has Asperger's, so he's very literal minded.
ah
Yes. And so he's got to the point to where now he's 31 and he's just like, okay, this is my mom. This is how she is. This is what makes her happy. Good.
oh my gosh.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. But she's happy and she's leaving me alone, so life is good. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But I've told him when he was small, I would walk by his room and it would be like I could hear him talking to people. And I stopped with him. I said, "Who are you talking to?" He says, "Paw Paw, my dad." My dad had been dead for like 3 years, but he was sitting there talking to him. Now he doesn't have any recollection of that today, but at the time I said, "Okay, so what are you talking about?" "We're just talking." Comes and talks to me. Okay, very cool. Right on. But no, now he's just like, okay, this is mom. This is how she is. Okay, good. And that's it. He's like, oh, whatever.
Well, now since he's got Asperger's, I know a lot of people with children who special needs or whatever, or any type of, you know, autism or any of that
Mhm.
stuff, there's a theory that a lot of those are star children or
Uh-huh. I believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And to me, I can see that. That makes sense to me because that's, I feel like that may be why they have difficulty acclimating certain things here. It's because
Right.
they're not really from here, you know? Because Earth, let's face it, Earth is a hard place to live. It's very dense and very hard to navigate at times. That's why we have to do the best we can to make the best of it. Love each other, help each other out, do good, shut up, and go home. Okay? That's
Yeah.
we have to. We have to.
And it's a nice reminder too to remember it's considered an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, you were chosen to be here because you can handle it.
Yeah.
You know.
Because it is so difficult and because of the challenges and you learn so
Yeah,
much while you're
yeah,
here.
yeah. This is the advanced class.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always jealous of the people in AP whatever class. Oh, and to an extent.
Yeah,
I was like, no, I want to have more fun than study all the time. I
same
like
here.
I liked getting good grades in the classes that I took without taking the AP stuff.
Little did we know then that we were in the really advanced class, right?
Exactly,
Oh
exactly.
gosh. Well,
But
hang in
that's
there. We're gonna make it.
yeah, yeah, and that becomes more real every day. So, what do you think about all these changes to the 4D and the 5D? Are you sensing anything, feeling anything?
Yeah,
Any insights? What do you got?
I think that I call it getting downloads. I think more people are getting more downloads. They're coming at a faster pace, more intense. Um, I've noticed a lot of people are leaving the planet. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but I've just this past year alone, I've had a lot of friends and friends of friends that have passed on, and but some of them very unexpectedly. And I just had a good friend of mine last week. He's my age, had a massive heart attack. He was in good health. One day, that's just gone. And I just feel like that it's happening. I think time is speeding up, if that makes sense. Maybe not necessarily really speeding up, but oh, there we're going to have to go down. We don't have time to get into the parallel universes, multi-universe theories, and
We
all that.
talked about that to an extent, so anybody who's regular might get that.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, oh, there's a new series out on Netflix. It just came out on Netflix, but it's second season already, so it came from somewhere. I don't know where it came from, but it's called Manifest. Which at
Manifest.
first I was like, Manifest? What are they manifesting? No, it's like an airplane manifest. These there and it focuses on this one family who's sitting in the airport.
Yeah.
And all this happened. I'm not giving anything away. This happens like in the first 5 minutes. They're in an airport, and there's an announcement. We've overbooked. If you'll volunteer to stay back for the next flight, we'll give you $400.
Yeah.
So this man says, "I'll stay back." And his son said, and he has twins, son, a boy and a girl. And the son says, "I'll stay with dad." And he said, "Okay, cool." And then his sister stayed with him. So the rest of the family, the mom, the other twin, and her parents, they all board the plane to go. But the three of them, the brother, sister, and then the little twin boy, stay behind. They get
Hmm.
on the next plane. They're up in the air. Things are going fine. And all of a sudden, there's this just horrible turbulence. Stuff's flying out of the overhead bins and all that stuff.
Right.
And then it calms down, and the pilot comes on and says, sorry, we hit something in the weather that wasn't predicted. Don't know what that was all about, but and then they're getting closer to their destination. They're just coming like from Jamaica or something.
Hmm.
He comes into their destination, and says, "This is flight whatever," and ready to land. And he said, "Can you tell us your flight number again?" "Yeah." "Who's your captain?" Gives his name. "How many passengers?" And he gives all that. They land, and it's 5.5 years later.
Wow.
And so all the fallout. And then in the meantime, the government's investigating, going, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
They can't find an explanation for it. The twins meet, and one of them's almost 6 years older. One of them's like 16, and the other one's 11. And it's like, what the hell,
Oh my gosh, I got to check that out. Which that reminds me, you said interesting things or that had happened to me. That reminds me, I'll tell you this real quick. A few years back, I was sitting on my front porch. It's a nice summer day. I was sitting out on my front porch, and I just started feeling just something was going on. I couldn't explain what. And what happened was to me, this is what I felt. I was still here. I was still my body was still here. But at that same time, I was on the West Coast with my in laws in their house making dinner. And then I came back to me and I went in my house and I told my husband, I said, look, something's going on. I want you to keep an eye on me. I don't know what it is. This is what's happening. And he's like, okay. And it took probably a couple of hours for me to feel like I was back in my body. But that was so clear that I was here, but also there doing that. Trippy, yeah.
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 Yeah. So I'm wondering if that could have been a point in time where those two timelines merged briefly.
My sister had an episode where she was driving down the road, and she said in a split second, she saw what would happen in two different scenarios. And
Really?
one she lived and the other she died. And of course, she chose the one she lived.
Oh, wow. And is that your sister that's on here,
Uh
Deborah?
huh.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness,
It was
Deborah.
fascinating. Yeah. And she says, advanced class, oh dear, are you sure based on some of our fellow citizens?
Fair point, Deborah. Fair point. Yeah, yeah. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. And I would say that there's beginning advanced and there's advanced advanced.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. Let's go with that. Yeah.
Because there's different labels, even, or levels even within that. So
But we're all going to get there.
yeah,
It's going at different paces. We're all going to arrive at the same place eventually. You know.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's interesting to see how many people are waking up all of a sudden.
Really.
And I can't figure out if it's how sudden it is or if they're just more comfortable saying it.
Oh, I haven't thought about it like that. But okay, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of people that the wheels have been clicking for a long time,
Right,
and
right.
now they know what to call it.
I like that. Now that's yeah. That sounds very plausible. Yeah. Now it's a safe time for it. Now we have the words for it, and it's a safe time for us to express it and say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that.
And supposedly, have you heard anything about what's happening this month as far as, you can call it conspiracy, but there's some changes that are supposedly coming up this month.
I haven't. Concerning what?
The Nasara Jasara, which is the global financial thing and the national financial thing, where we're going to be switching to the gold base,
Right,
and then because it's already been happening in some countries.
right.
um oh, there was one. I guess I should just kind of tell people in case. um with the senators calling out China yesterday, which hasn't really gotten on the big mainstream media, but they called out and said, yes, we're going to investigate China and we're going to blame them for this and all this, and we're going to, we're putting the hammer down, right?
Yeah.
Now China is threatening nuclear war, or could, or there's whispers of it
Right.
going around. Remember, that's a scare tactic,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't. We will not have nuclear war,
No.
because the aliens, the ETs, whatever,
Yeah.
they're intervening.
Well, and gosh, it's so funny you say that, because remember back in the 80s when that was the big thing, was, nuclear war. And, I was in school and I remember them telling us, okay, you'll have to hide under your desk,
Like that's going to save you.
like that's going to save us. But anyhow, and then later I was reading some article or something that it was an alien that intervened to basically save us from ourselves,
Yeah.
you know. And so yeah, I personally, I don't think there will ever be nuclear war. I don't. I
Mm-mm.
really don't. I think that they're still here. They're still watching over us. Now, a lot of times they let us do whatever, because
Like
that's how you
toddlers, you
learn.
got to let them fall every once
Yeah,
in a while.
yeah.
But my understanding is that we already have destroyed ourselves
Oh yeah.
on other timelines or parallels or whatever. And this time around, they said, okay, last time we just stayed back and didn't want to intervene. But this time we've got to intervene, because if we don't,
Hmm.
you're just going to screw it up again.
Yeah, yeah,
And so they're like, no more nukes.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean, because we don't know what we're doing clearly. So,
well, and I would dare say that those of us that do just don't know how to intervene with those that don't.
right.
The greedy sons of bitches that use it for money,
Mm-hmm.
and that almighty dollar that isn't worth jack shit anymore.
Nope, it's not. It's not. It's really not.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So we're gonna close it out here in just a minute. Any last minute, anything you want to sock people with, or
Anything I want to lay on people? Well, I guess it would just be this: love yourself, love each other, take care of each other. That's what we got to do. Be kind. If you can't be kind,
yes.
be quiet.
If you can't say anything good, then don't say
Come sit by
anything
me. Oh. But yeah, just love each other. That's what it's all about. Love each other and take care of each other. That's what we're here for.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you, Angela. This has
Thank
been
you.
Angela Nyx with us this week, and we greatly appreciate you being here.
Um,
And the videos will be on YouTube and our website, and the closing has more details on where to find it. And let's see, Deborah says, thank you. It was fun and interesting hour.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Deborah.
Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry we didn't have more chatter. I know there were some other people on here, but sometimes when it's quiet, that's a good sign that people are just kind of absorbing.
Soaking it
So,
all in.
yes, but greatly appreciate the input, Deborah, and thanks for being with us. And good night, namaste. Take care of yourselves and each other. Yes.
Stay.
All right, let me get this. Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details, www.facebook.com/eyesofindigo. Show is copyrighted 2021 by Iris Carter.